Good evening, Yogaji.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, sir. Good evening, everyone. I'm Asmi Jain, and I'm delighted to serve as today's program coordinator. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to the second day of the FDP on advanced tools and techniques for research methodology. This event has been thoughtfully organized by the Research Foundation of India in collaboration with Shodh Malwa, Parul University Gujarat, Eklav University, JHRF, ARGF, and Edu Academic Inc. Now, I am pleased to introduce our esteemed session expert for today, Dr. Shesh Chabra sir. Sir is an associate professor at the DC Business School in Indore. He brings over 23 years of teaching experience across multiple academic levels. Holding a PhD, he has a strong international presence through, through, numerous pre- through numerous publications in reputed journals, conferences, and newspapers. Beyond academia, Sir actively contributes to global research, serving as a reviewer for esteemed journals. He is also on the editorial boards of prestigious international journals. His mentorship extends to Startup India, Beancurve Chhattisgarh, and various international organizations. A dedicated leader, he frequently chairs sessions at national and international conferences and contributes to FTPs and MDPs through his impactful contributions to academia and professional development. Sir continues to inspire us all. With this, I humbly invite Sir to take over the session. Over to you, Sir.
Thank you, Asmi ma'am. Thank you for your kind words. Good evening, all my respected faculty colleagues who have joined us today from different parts of the country. Good evening to one and all, every member of my RFI family, Saurabh sir, Ajay Jain sir, Yograj ji, Asmi Jain ma'am. Okay, it's through, it's through the dedicated efforts of everyone who is uh, who is backing up such programs, and especially my RFI family, that such programs are uh, possible, or such programs are are made that way. So good evening once and all. What I would request every one of you before we I start on to that thing. Asmi ma'am has been kind enough to call me an expert, but I'm not the one. I would try and share my experiences into research as a research guide, as as a reviewer, what has been my experiences onto this thing. So I would be sharing on that point of time. If any one of you, please feel free to contribute. We are on a contributory platform. We are not on a monologue, or we are not on an idea that only one can speak and others have to listen. I'm pretty sure that many of you have got years of experience in guiding your PhD student, irrespective of whichever field we come from. Okay, so with all this thing, I would request you all to please contribute into today's session. And whenever you wish to contribute, I would request that please use this hand raised thing, so that I know that okay, there is a hand raise and you can speak. And once you are done, please lower down the hand. So that is what would be my request. Now, so today's topic that I have got to talk about is the idea that we would be talking about the idea of research design and sampling. Okay, so okay, before I start, let me know how many of you are pursuing your PhD. Okay, okay, three, four,
Yes,
five, six, seven. Okay, eight. Okay, good, good. Nine. Okay, great, great, great. Uh, thank you very much. Thank you for your response. So now, approximately, I believe it's some 10 or 11 people are pursuing their PhDs. Okay, then the next simple question. Thank you very much. Okay, great, great. More people are joining in the league. Okay, great, great. So I believe at least 13 to 15 people are pursuing their PhD. Okay, at what level are you? Means are you like are you about to start? You are in the coursework level, or you have started? Your synopsis is through, and you have started onto it. So please raise a hand if you are still onto a coursework level types.
Sir, I am
Okay.
undergoing the coursework.
Okay, you are undergoing the coursework. Okay, great, great, great. Okay, great, great. Okay, fair enough, fair enough. And rest, I believe, have cleared this, first step that they are through with the coursework. Yes. Okay, you are in the coursework level. Okay, great, great, great. Fair enough, fair enough, fair enough. So I would try and make the things as simple and relevant for every one of you, and especially all my PhD scholars, respected PhD scholars. I'm pretty sure that all my faculty, all my colleagues, around 40, 45 colleagues of mine who have joined in the meeting. Uh, all of you are faculties, yes? You're in faculties into one or the other subject, yes? Okay, great. So, so means everyone is, to some extent have this idea of research, more or less types, more or less types. Okay. Okay, great, great. Pragya ma'am says her coursework is also going on. Great, great, great. Thank you. Great. So keep us all keep. I would try and keep you all alive and awake during this session. Okay. And as I said, it would be more of a discussion oriented, more of, I won't like that you people share your exact topic, okay, of PhD over on this public platform. Please don't do that. But yes, I would like that, okay, you can tell me your larger area of interest, or when asked, like say, okay, so be contributory onto that thing. So that contribution would help us. Now, before I start formally with my presentation on the topic today, let me look, look to you, or let me talk to you about one important idea. I'm pretty sure most of you might have heard about this. It's a idea that, have you heard about something as research mind map? Have you heard about this research mind map? Great. Himanta sir says he has. Okay, 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 okay. Fair enough. If not heard, not an issue, not an issue. Anyone who has some idea about research mind map, even if you have got the slightest idea, please go ahead and talk.
So basically, research mind map.
Hmm.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes, Samir sir, please go ahead.
Yeah. So basically, research mind map is like a visual or virtual tool to organize the ideas, concepts, and information related
Okay,
to the
okay,
research topic. So it
okay,
is basically a diagram that starts with a central idea or research topic in the middle,
okay,
then branches out into related themes, questions, and sections. Each branch
okay.
can further expand into details, data, and subtopics.
Very good, very good. That's absolutely great, absolutely great. Anyone else who would like to talk about this idea? Anyone else who would like to talk about this idea of research map? Let's take an example of what Samir sir said. Thank you, Samir sir. Thank you very much. So let's talk about what Samir sir was saying. And here I would need an example from any one of you. What is your topic of interest? Especially PhD scholars who are still pursuing their coursework, who are yet to finalize the topic of PhD. What is your area of interest? Area of interest, I'm asking. Anyone, if you can contribute, please.
Sir, energy transition.
Yes, sir. Sorry, Hemanta, sir.
Yes, sir. Energy transition.
Energy transition. Okay. Explain that, please, further.
Yes, y- sir. Actually, the green energy transition we are talking about from non-fossil fuel to, sorry, some from fossil fuel to non-fossil fuel, like renewable
Okay.
energy, solar energy,
Okay.
electrical
Okay.
vehicle, we can say hydrogen, etc.
Okay. Great. Means from the traditional sources to alternative sources of
Yes,
energy.
sir.
Okay. Okay. Great. Now, say for example, this is one idea that you want to do your research on. Okay. Say for example. Okay. Now, the second question should be or would be that what exactly you would like to talk in terms of energy transition or moving from a traditional non-renewable source to a renewable source. What is that would what is that would uh, you would be liking to talk about? Asmita ma'am, I will be taking your example as well. Okay. So what is that you would be trying to talk about, Hemanta sir? In energy
Sir,
transition, what is
yes,
that?
yes, sir. Like from example, for the economic growth, we are using the most of the energy is needed.
Okay.
So in that case, we are trying for the such type of technology where the carbon emission should be low.
Agreed.
Yes, sir. So that the economic growth can be a sustainable economic growth can be achieved.
Agreed. Now, what exactly, from which point of view you would like to look into sustainable economic growth? From the consumer point of view, from the government's point of view, from the producers, that means, manufacturers or people who are who use this energy. So, from which perspective or from a mixed perspective would you like to know the sustainable growth idea? Or
From
would you like to draw examples from foreign, say from other sides, and then try and learn from that how so how a country like ABC have done, and what can we do into that thing? I hope you're getting my questions.
yes, yes, sir, yes, sir.
Okay, so
From
that's how you would Samir sir was saying, that you would be branching out. Okay, so which is that part of sustainable economic development from energy conservation point of view, or energy transmit point of view, that you would be interested in talking. Okay, so that way, I'm not talking about a topic, please understand this thing.
yes,
I'm not saying that you are trying to finalize a topic. Please don't jump onto a conclusion of topic. Don't do that ever. Okay. Try and look into that. Okay, this is what area I would be of interest. Okay. Now, before you finalize even that this is my topic of area of interest, please ask yourself, why is this topic area of your interest? Okay. Why is that something that should be talking about sustainable economic development? Are you getting my question? Okay. So whatever your so-called topic of interest is, please answer this question, that why is it your topic of interest? Okay. Because see, remember, the PhD topic that you pick up probably would be the only topic and would be the topic that anyone in this world would do a PhD upon. Largely believe it in that way. Okay. So hence, please be very peculiar about choosing a topic in case of PhD especially, and in case of research paper next. Okay. Because you are freezing that particular topic. Nobody can, exactly word that topic and ever do a research again on it. So hence, that is my idea, first idea to you. Please don't jump onto a topic. People are in so hurry that, I should finalize the topic. Don't finalize the topic. Finalize the area of interest. Question yourself, be devil's advocate. Question yourself, that why is that is my part of area of interest? Because not today, but tomorrow, people would be interested in asking you that why you chose this field. Okay. Why you wanted to get into a field of energy conservation, for that matter. Okay, what is so interesting in that? Okay, it is much talked about, idea of sustainability and things like that. Is that what has motivated you to do so? Is this your answer? Build up a strong foundation of answer, that why is that you would be interested in a particular topic. If possible, develop another alternative interest. Okay, that means, see, I cannot only say that, no, this is something of my huge interest. there may be some chances of deviations. So hence it is always better that you pick up one of alternative topics of interest, that okay, this or this. Okay. And as Samir sir was explaining this to you, that then try and further question yourself. I'm putting it in a very non-technical way. Try and further question yourself. Okay, what in this, what in this, try and create. This is what was what is what called as the branching of the topic. What is that exactly you would like to look into when you are talking about energy transition, or you're talking about moving from a something that is from conservation, or anything like that, or sustainability. Okay, what is that that would interest you? Then try and look into that. Once you are done with this, okay, then try and look into that, that okay, what is that studies have already done about it. So you would find hundreds of research papers, hundreds of maybe theses also, who have actually looked into this ideas very similar, or or very related to your thing. Okay, so that would give you further direction on to finalizing. So out of two, you started, say, out of two or three, you finalized one, and in this one now you're trying to look into that. Okay, or in two, you are trying to look into that what all has been done, what all ideas have already been explored. Okay, don't travel on a very charted path, that that is very much traveled. You would end up finding nothing. Okay, even if for that matter you are did your PhD also, you would not be contributing significantly into the existing field of knowledge. So this is my request, both to all my respected listeners, both to the scholars and the respected guides, my fellow guides who are here, that please do not make the scholar and the scholar also traveling on the same ideas with milder modification types, that okay, that study was done in Korea, now you are trying to do that in India. Nobody has done this study in this part of the country. Okay, please. Okay, so try and look into that thing. What is that that should be, that would something that would keep you excited. Why I'm telling this? Okay, I would take another 2 or 3 minutes more of yours, and then I would start with my presentation of this thing. See, PhD is something, especially if you are writing PhD or research is something in most of the or institutions. Research is something which is self-driven type of an activity. You would less find institutions or organizations. Okay, API score is one thing. Okay, that I believe in. But otherwise, the visible impact in reward structure or in recognition structure is not very evident in many institutions. And even if it is evident, then the motivation to do research is somewhat hampered. Okay, because of one or other reasons. Okay, I'm not getting into that. Especially if you are doing PhD. So once you get into that thing, you would understand that keeping yourself motivated to do research, to do things, you keeping busy, your guide keeping busy, trying to match up with the schedules would be a hell lot thing. Okay, getting the questionnaires filled and whatnot. Okay, so at times it is a general idea that you may start losing your interest, and that is the time when you should and you must understand that keeping up your interest is something, being making yourself self driven is only possible if you pick up some topic which actually excites you, which actually which actually kicks you. Okay, that creates an insight into your brain. That is how probably I find that my research experience is that is something which would keep you alive in your research. Otherwise, a moribund topic, a gone type of topic, a well researched type of topic in which you are just trying to do some here and there type of things, I'm sorry to say, can produce maybe some research paper for some journal, not even for a good journal. but don't pick up that idea that you start feeling bored with that thing. Okay, so hence this is my request to you. Okay, since most of you are to start with PhD, and all my respected fellow guides, this is my request to you. Please don't pick up a very easy type of a path. I'm not saying that you go for some noble literature type of research. If you can, please go ahead. But at least pick up something which you find would actually contribute into the existing pool of knowledge. Because once you do that, people would be taking you as an expert into that field. Hence, please pick up that thing. Please, taking time. Okay. Remember this thing that if you have got 4 hours to cut a tree, use 2 hours to sharpen your axe. Okay. So if at so make your preparations. Don't just jump into any topic, or don't just dive into any topic without giving it a second thought. Why, when, now, give it a serious thought. Once, until you are satisfied with your research map, don't get into. This is my request to you. Whatever, see, your guide would only guide you after, once. See, if you ask me some question now, say for example, I would have been your guide. If you ask me some question now, I would say that, okay, tell me about this topic. Like, say, Asmita ma'am has written over here, regional inequalities in Uttarakhand. So if I would have been her guide, so I would have asked her that, okay, tell me about it. That, okay, what does this means? Why you are picking up this topic? Why? And this. So she would have come up with question. We would have a series of question answer type of things. Okay. Please, this is my request to all my fellow guides. Do such activities, not to demoralize the candidate, but to bring that clarity to the candidate. It's our duty as a guide that when a research scholar sits in front of us, it becomes our duty to get them or to bring them clarity as much as we can, because every so-called expert now was a beginner at some time. Okay, so we all have struggled during our initial days of research. I tell you one thing, I attended many research so-called workshops. Okay, but it was only after that I started doing research and things, I started getting involved into it, that I started learning about the nuances of research, and I'm still far behind being called an expert. Okay, so that is what my idea is, that whatever you know about that thing, you would have more knowledge about a certain topic than your guide has. The guide can guide you on the methodology part, on the larger structure part. Okay, but it's your primary idea, so it's your baby. So please, please make it sure that you spend time in building up your baby. Okay, don't just throw up the thing and then assuming that somebody else would take care of your baby. Nobody would. Okay, and especially not your guide would. Okay, so hence, please make sure that you are onto a better path of understanding before you actually jump onto research. Take your time. Okay, so with this basic understanding, and thanks to Samir Dikshit sir for that uh, adding on to the research mind map. So with this, I hope any questions before I start with the research design and sampling part. So this was the first part of research design. Okay, was the first part of my idea that I wanted to talk about. Anyone has any question onto this thing before I start with my research design and sampling? Please go ahead and ask.
No, sir.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you very much. So let's start now with the idea of research design and sampling. Okay, so you understand this idea that anything would need first a design. Okay, so like say you are building up a home, so that would need a design. So in anything that you are trying to plan up would need a basic design. Okay, and the first, but that is what I said. The first part of design, to my understanding, is a research mind map that you try and create a larger design of the idea that okay, this is what I would be doing, and this is how I would be doing. So once you're, once you have set the tone, then go on to the second idea. Okay, that try and see that okay, what you would do with the research, how you would do with the research, how you would get onto the instruments, how you would get the data. I'm not talking only about the RM part. No, I'm talking about the basic, the details of the thing. So what would be, what would be the larger fabric of the research? Decide upon that. So once you go ahead, you would understand what I mean by that thing. Okay. So these are the different types of design. So you can use any one of them. Let's start with one by one. Okay. Largely in social sciences, you would find more of descriptive designs. Descriptive research tells you that thing that okay, this is what this is what it is. So if you are describing the as it is situation in the research, that okay, what is the customer satisfaction, uh, how much people are happy with consumption of my product, anything like that. Okay, so that is what would be, if you're trying to say that okay, how many people take up say different things up in research, or any ideas like that. So as I told you, generally the social sciences research are mostly descriptive in nature, so they try and describe what is there on the ground level. Okay, so a company wants to know that okay, how many people prefer my brand, are my employees happy with my say pay structure, anything like that. Okay, say for example, Hemanta sir wants to know that how many people, or what is the idea of consumer regarding the non-conventional sources of energy, or what is the perception of the consumer regarding the non-conventional source of energy, or how many people actually use say solar energy for that matter. So whatever, how many people actually use the subsidy of the government. So I hope you are getting my point. We are trying to further draw the nuances. We are knitting onto the fabric of research. You started with the topic of non-conventional sources of energy. Now you are trying to get onto the nuances. You are trying to build up the fabric on which this is would be woven like. Okay, so anything like. Okay, so you want to say that okay, after COVID, you most of many during the COVID period, many exams were CBT, computer based tests. Okay, so and many people are now continuing with that. Many organizations are now continuing with the so-called CBTs. Okay, so proctored tests, they are continuing with exams of proctored tests. They've done away with the pen paper test type of things. So it's your resource, your system. You would be monitored, and you would be going for a computer based test. So you can always compare that what was the rate of success between a computer exam and say a pen and paper exam. Say for example, if you would be if you would have attempted an NPTEL or a Swayam certificate, so they are all computer based exams. So you have to go to a third party. Okay, and they would be monitoring you, and somebody from the system would be looking onto you, and then it would be all your computer based test. So you don't have to fill any OMR sheet or anything like that. You can always look out for such type of things to understand that okay, what can be, which one is better types, or which one would yield a better result. So that can be anything, as I said, which describes the situation for you, is a descriptive research. So this can be the three types of things. Let's start with one by one. A case study approach. Okay, I would recommend this thing, that if you are trying to build up an inside story regarding an organization, then case study research would be useful. But this is useful only as far as a research paper is concerned, not as per your PhD is concerned. Never try to do a PhD on a case-based approach or a case study design approach, because they have got, see, if I am saying that okay, organization ABC have got such type of practices, then that is, that either I am trying to tell you about say maybe a benchmark practice that others can follow in, or I'm trying to tell you about okay, these are the problems in the company and this is what management can do. So what exactly is my thought? Okay, so that problem may be a very peculiar problem about a certain region or a certain, say, certain organization types or certain industry, maybe, for example. Okay, say for example, in say in a labor intensive industry, all HR principles would be applicable, but that may not be, like say motivation to retention of people and everything. But that may not be the case in case of capital intensive. If say I have got robotic arms working for me, why I should be considering, the human factor or motivation in the human or things like that. It's after all a machine. Okay, so I would be more mechanical in my approach. So hence, case studies have this type of a very, this type of a limitation, that they are, they are applicable in a very peculiar case, and generalization from the case studies may be issue. Okay, so it may not be a case that okay, you may be trying to generalize a particular finding. Okay, so generalization is not possible. So hence, that is the reason I suggested you that please do not pick up a case study based approach in your PhDs. In your research, it's okay. 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 Yes. Somebody has raised the hand. Please go ahead.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
I had a question in context to the case study approach. You
Yes,
said
please.
that it would not be advisable to use this approach in the thesis.
Yeah.
But I had a question that if we, on a broader perspective, are trying to solve a problem in any research, whether that should not be validated if we are giving a solution for a probably industry related issue. Shouldn't
See,
that be validated in a company to give a validation approach?
agreed. Samir sir, let me give you an example. Okay, if I got you right, okay. Say for example, I am doing an industry-based research. Say I am doing it in automobile industry. Okay.
Okay.
Shall we continue with this example?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, sure.
So I am looking on to the HR problems in automobile sector. Okay. Now, are these problems comparable with textile based industry? The answer may be no. Okay. One. Two. I am talking about, say, I talked about a cluster of industry present in a certain, maybe a certain geographic area. Okay, because obviously, even if you are doing a PhD, you would be limited to certain geographic area. You cannot do a PhD into entire India. Okay, that would be next, that would be not done types. So you would be limiting yourself to a geographic area. I would be coming on to that when I talk about sampling. Probably that would answer you better. But I would try and give you try and solve your things now. So irrespective of that geographic area, have I picked up the representation from the population? Okay, to qualify that for a generalization. Okay, otherwise what would happen, I have to write onto that thing that the limitation of this study is that this is applicable only in such industries, only with peculiar such industries of these characteristics are only, you can generalize onto that. You're getting my point? Hence that would become very limited type of an idea. So generally it is advisable as to not to pick up case study design as far as a PhD thesis is concerned. Okay, you have other designs, you would be talking about other designs as well, where you can draw better generalization. Case studies in the sense, like say I'm talking about, say for example, I have picked up only one company to talk about. That's say employee satisfaction in Tata Industries, for example, say. Okay, or in any particular set of industry. Okay, So what are the same characteristics? Can I replicate it some place, other place? If the answer is yes, then there would be a generalization. If the answer is no, then there is no generalization. And if any study which has got limited generalization or no generalization would always be a question mark. I'm not saying that they are not, they're not a research. They are a research, but they have got their own question marks. People would be more of having questions rather than, answers to that thing. Okay. Yes. Anyone else would like to question or add to something to it? Dr. Nisha Kumari, ma'am.
Sir, actually, you are talking about the case study, correct? And you are
Yeah.
talking about the generalizability of the study of using case study method. So when you
Yes.
are telling that if you are using any other method and you are if you are using case study method, you
Mhm.
can't generalize it to the other sectors and all. But when we
Yes.
talk about the other approaches also, sir, in that also, whatever thesis we are reading, it's
Mhm.
regarding particular some sectors. For example,
Yes.
these people are
Agreed.
seeing
Agreed.
that
Agreed.
green HRM impact in just IT sectors or just
Agreed. Agreed.
FMCG sectors and all. So
Agreed.
again, those things we can't generalize to the other
No.
sectors once we are focusing
Agreed.
on that.
Nisha ma'am.
And
Nisha ma'am.
second thing,
Huh.
second thing, recently I completed my PhD and I did use case study approach only. And my
Mhm.
study was that how that particular rural government scheme is impacting or helping or contributing in the rural micro entrepreneurship. So it's
Hmm.
a generalizable on wherever the MGNREGA scheme is been applicable or they are
Hmm.
implementing. Correct.
Agreed.
Similarly,
Agreed.
one of my co-scholar, he did case study approach only, and that too he did a circular economy. So
Hmm.
he took the 12 cases of MSMEs and he analyzed what are the practices they are using or practicing for circular economy. What are the hours they are using, whether it's a 3 hour, 5 hour, or 7 hour, based on
Hmm.
the type of the MSME.
Hmm.
And based on that particular thing only, he came up with the one model. And similarly, based on my study only, I came up with the one model, which we can testify further in the further study. And that model he came up is like that the how we, that MSMEs in a different sectors can utilize those practices and follow the sustainable practices as well as for the sustainable profits and all. So I feel like based it's not about the particular approach, but it's about the thing what we are studying. Even though if we are the anyone is doing case study, it's not specifically like if you're just taking one particular example. So it's whatever approach you are using, you can't generalize it. But if your topic is in a broader area, I feel the approach will support you to for the in-depth study, and you can generalize your things. That too again in some particular limitations.
Nisha ma'am, I believe you have questioned also and you have answered also.
Yeah, sir, that only kind of my understanding is that
See, I tell you, Nisha
based
ma'am.
on the topic,
Agreed. Now,
based on the
let
topic
me,
and the interest of the
let me
students,
go.
sir.
Agreed. Okay. So thank you for your contribution, Nisha ma'am. That's what I said. If you can please mute yourself, ma'am. Okay, thank you. So that's what I said, Nisha ma'am. That you have questioned also and you have answered also. In the sense that what you are trying to talk about. See, what I said to you that see, for example, if I'm talking about the best practices in a certain company, okay. So are they generalizable or are they limited? Okay, that answer of it would obviously depend on the context, the sector. Many, see, what I said are this is that they have got limited generalization. Okay, I have not even covered the idea of sampling here. As I said, I was, that is what I was talking to Samir sir also, that when we talk about samples also, or when we will be talking sampling also, I would be talking this idea to you, that how sampling, then you made a very correct point that what is the inclusion in your topic. Okay, how wide or how narrow is your topic? Okay, so hence, in a general idea, as a general thing, case study designs have got a limited generalization. Okay, and even if you are, even if you are trying to generalize it, there can be ifs and buts which can be put into not only case studies designs, but into any type of design that we'll be talking about. Okay, so generalization of the research has got a different criteria. Okay, so in general, case study designs have got a limited generalization. Okay, so am I clear on this? So shall we proceed on that? Anyone would like to add further on to that thing? Samir sir wants to say something.
No, sir. Please proceed.
Okay, thank you very much. So, that is what can be done. So what you can do is that, and another idea of this can be a cross-sectional design. Okay. So what you do, you create a stratified groups at any given point of time. You create stratified groups, and you can, make a comparison between these two stratified groups. Okay. Stratified groups means, anyone please? Stratified groups means, okay, stratified groups means that you are looking on to, say, you have got you picked up, so the characteristics of the to define the group is so picked up that you belong to an you cannot belong to the same group, cannot belong to the same group at the same time. That means, see, as a gender at one point of time, if I ask you now that what is your gender, so either you can be a male or a female. Okay, if I ask you your age, so at this point today, at the point of time, you would fall into one age group. So is with income. Okay, so as on the date, you can be falling into if I pick up many demographic characteristics, so whichever demographic characteristics you think would be the most suitable in terms of your research. If you're picking up a cross-sectional study, say for example, I've done my research into labor. So if I'm picking up a comparison between a permanent or and a temporary labor, or permanent and a contractual labor, okay, so that you have created a stratified group, because at one point of time you can be belonging only to one particular group. Okay, so in that way you can create a cross-sectional studies. However, it is recommended that, okay, I'm not saying that nothing to do with that. However, it's recommended that you study the variables over a period of time if possible. Okay, like say, if someone comes from an economics background, so you would be talking. We had enough of studies talking about say the pre-globalization and the post-globalization era, after LPG started in 1991 in India. Enough of that studies. What I personally believe is that one should, if you want to study certain parameters or certain things like that, take a time frame as COVID. So pre-COVID and post-COVID, because post-COVID many things have become what you call as the new normal. Okay, so how about inclusion of things into the new normal? Okay, so that is what, if you can, if you can study certain variables over a period of time, means if study permits you, then a longitudinal study would be a better option to a cross-sectional study. Again, see, remember this idea that based again upon your topic that you have picked up. Okay, so I'm trying to explain you the design part of it. Okay, not trying to get you into the topic part of it. So if you are got into the topic part of it, then understand it in connection or in context with your topic. Okay, so understand it that in your context of topic, so you would be you would be able to get better out of it. Okay, so it's always better that you do longitudinal studies. Okay, see, many scholars ask this question, that how long should be a PhD questionnaire? Okay, Again, I'm not getting the detail of the questionnaire per se. Then the idea to this is that very simple, that you try and see into that okay, question, how many questions would be sufficient for the analysis of my objectives. Say, for example, can you tell me that okay, out of say 50 questions that you have kept in your questionnaire, PhD questionnaire, um, how many question of yours answer objective 1, objective 2? Say, can you tell me precisely that okay, question number 1, 2, 3, and 5, they're linked with my objective 1, things like that. Okay, so include only that much questionnaire which you feel would be sufficient enough to answer the objectives. That is part 1 of the story. Still, I feel personally, I feel that the questionnaire may not be able to grasp or may not be able to tell you the spirit of the work. Okay, that may not touch base your spirit of the work. Say the setting in which your consumer lives in. Say if I'm doing a consumer based study, or maybe people have paucity of time, how many have actually read the questionnaire and when they answer the questionnaire, things like that. So there can be many ifs and buts. Have you tried to approach your customer or approach your say respondent in the field? Okay, if not, please try that. Try and look into the respondent right into the field, because as I told you, if you ask all the questionnaires, so then what would happen? It would the questionnaire would become hard and long types, and nobody would answer that. Okay, somebody has raised the hand. Yes, please. Arina, I can say if I pronounce it your name right. You have got a hand. We have got a hand raise. Anyone has got a question? Okay, fair enough. So my idea to you would be that, or my request to you would be that, if possible, go and meet your respondent. Okay, if possible. Okay, again based on your topic. Okay, all this all this explanation flows from the idea that what exactly is your topic. Okay, so based on the topic, please try and collect the whereabouts types. Okay, try and go beyond that thing. Okay, if possible, go and meet the customer, go and meet the respondent, take out a semi-structured or a structured type of interview, whatever again, whatever your study entails. Why? Because one idea is that you would be understanding the larger customer setting. Okay, you would be understanding what the data may not be able to tell you. That is what something that you would understand when you go and meet people live. Okay, second, and what I have what I have benefited from this type of idea is that when you write your discussion, not inferences, when you write your discussions, your findings, they come from the data. But when you write about the discussion, that why this data, to answer this why in research, you should have something, you should this observations of yours, or this understanding of yours, or this when you talk with people, they would explain it with. Okay, like say Nisha ma'am was just contributing her thoughts on case study method. What if we would have put up in a questionnaire to Nisha ma'am? Okay, when you speak with people, they speak their heart, they speak their mind, so that would give you an understanding about the situations. Okay, this is what I have I have felt on that thing. So if possible, try and include that way also, or at least try one paper, if not the entire thing, but at least try one paper in which you are trying to look into, or you are using qualitative along with the quantitative things. Okay, obviously this is a time taking. The qualitative thing is a time taking. You have to fix up times with the people, you have to go talk to them, so that would be obviously time taking. Okay, now we come on to the another idea, that you are trying to explore the dimensions of probably something which can be uh, say, for example, not too too much explored. The path may not be too tread types, so you are trying to build up a model like. Okay, so still, as I pointed out, COVID-19. still many things about COVID-19 are unclear. I'm not talking about the scientific part of it. Many things, as we talk about the new, can this be the new normal times? So still people are, trying to figure out that new normals in some sectors. Okay. Like say, you and me sitting at different parts of the country are talking to each other. This is the new normal for us. This is what has been possible because you might also remember that pre-COVID eras, we would have met in a conference hall or in maybe a seminar room. That is how FDPs were conducted. Thanks to COVID, that I can, even if I cannot see you, I can, at least we can exchange our views and exchange, we all can be benefited with each other. Okay. So this is where you can actually, you can say, for example, I want to say that some of you who might have, I can say, say, for example, who have been in teaching for 10 years now. Say, if I ask you this question, who have been in teaching for 10 years now? If you can please make a hand raise. I hope my question is clear. Okay, let us reduce that period. Shall I reduce that period? Okay, great. Okay. So say, for example, all those, thank you very much. You can lower down your hands. Thank you very much. Now, if I ask you one simple question, okay, let me ask you one simple, small question, a quick answer I'm expecting. Even if you don't want to answer, please, it's okay. Because I try and remember that you would be speaking on a public platform. What is the difference between the FDP that you find now and in the pre-COVID era? That means in the physical FDP, or say, forget about pre and post-COVID. What is the difference that you are what is the difference that you find in online FDP and in offline FDP? In general, I'm asking. If any one of you would like to contribute, else it's okay. I'm just trying to, give you an idea that still, you can figure out many such issues, many such problems as to how much, effectiveness of training. So you can figure out in the online versus offline type of a thing. So, there are many dimensions that you can actually look into. Okay. Or remember those, simple experiments of the so-called of science. Okay. That if a ray of light would fall onto a certain mirror, it would get reflected. Simple. Okay. So if you cover the glass with some particle, then what would happen? So anything like that. So if you don't believe that, do it, you would start believing it. That is where experimental design and research comes in. That say the control thing and the test factor thing. So what you do with that thing, you administer certain factors to them, you don't administer the other factors to them. Like say, I give you an idea or give you an example. In many institutions these days, you have got, if you come from an engineering or pharma or management background, many institutions have got this facility of placements. Almost all the institution, and anyone from any of this background, any of faculty colleague of mine who hail from any of these backgrounds, pharma or say engineering or management. Okay, great, thank you. So okay, great. I'm pretty sure that you would have companies coming for your campuses. Okay, since you offer facility. And before companies start dropping in campuses, you would have, you would be running through a course, or maybe say you would be running through, any training, okay, technical and non-technical type of things, okay, facing interviews to GDs to, all such training. Yes. Do you do that? Do you train your students before they actually start appearing for placements, technical and non-technical, anyways? Like say Nisha ma'am comes from a management background. So Nisha ma'am, would you do you train your students? Okay, Gitanjali ma'am says yes. Okay, great. Have you ever tried to look into that idea that how many of your students have actually benefited from this training? That means, what if I pose a question to you, say if I am your management advisor, and if I want to ask you that, tell me that if say a batch of 120 students received training, okay, how many of they were placed in companies? Say for example, okay. So what essentially I'm trying to ask you, I'm essentially trying to know from you what is the impact of this training, okay, or how is the relationship between training and the placement of students. Since you say that these trainings occur because due to or this training occurs so that you can prepare student better for placements, is it actually happening? That's what my question is. Okay. Has anyone tried any research into this field? If not, why not? Please do it. Okay. Say, for example, you would have a small set of people who might not be very regular with the training. So, can I draw a comparison between the two? That people who have got, say, 75 and above in training, so because we consider 75% and above as a regular student, especially in the training session I'm talking about, and people who have got less than 75. So, what was their impact? So, did they go in training? Sorry, did they were they were they able to crack through the placement interviews? Look into that thing. That's where a practical application of experimental research would come in. Why don't you think about such type of a design? Yes, Samir sir, please go ahead.
Sir, I wanted to ask regarding the training, what you are saying. Are you trying to say that the training is in combination with the placements? For example, if 120, a batch of 120 students have been trained and all the 120 students have got the placements.
So my
Are you
first
trying to
question is
say?
that, sir,
Are you trying to say
Samir sir,
that?
Samir sir,
Yeah, yeah.
try and understand the first thing. So all of the 120 would not be interested in placement. So forget about those who have opted out of placement. So they are out of the population. Okay. Say for example, 100 are interested. Okay. Now 100 have got 100 people have been trained. Agreed? Now were this 100 able to crack through the placement? The companies, the placement companies which came in.
Sir, that is what I'm asking.
Hmm.
You are trying to link the training with the placements.
Absolutely.
For example, 120, a batch of 120,
Okay.
you stated that 20 have voluntarily opted out as
Opted
they
out.
suppose they wanted to go for launching their own businesses.
Businesses or whatever the case may be.
Yeah,
They may
whatever.
come from a family business
And
background, whatever the
yeah,
case.
yeah. 100 of the students were interested in the placements. And
Agreed.
suppose from 100, all the 100 got successful placements.
Great.
What I am asking you is whether linking this training with the placements is essential itself, because many of the companies in the current scenario require fresh mindsets. They require
Agreed.
fresh people, and they insist on taking such kind of people which are proactive, or rather a blank slate wherein they can put on their trainings and further their work. So whether there is in itself any correlation between training and this basic
Great.
understanding of everything is required. That is understood.
Great. Continue.
So that was my question.
See, Samir sir, try and understand one thing. When I say training, what I mean by training? Preparation for group discussions, preparation for interview, public speaking, personality development, whatever whatever name any institution has given to it. Okay, pre-placement training, whatever you are trying to train them into, including English speaking also. Okay, or how to crack an interview types. Agreed? That is
Agreed.
what is my idea. Because see, The basic essence of any such training which is given in this institution is with the idea that this would help the students secure placements. Agreed?
Agreed.
That is what I am trying to ask you.
Yeah, but there are some intricacies also na, in that, because many a
See,
times
try and understand.
interviewer
Samir sir,
yeah, yeah.
one minute. Try and understand one thing, Samir sir, that as of now, I am linking A with B. Okay? What we say in the management terms, other factors remaining constant. Okay?
Yeah, okay, then I agree. Then I agree.
Second thing, Samir sir. This is a simple string that I'm trying to draw. Try and look into that thing. A simple string trying to draw that presence of students who have attended more than 75% of classes and students which have attended less than 75% of classes. Agreed? So as of now, my basic hypothesis of research or basic understanding of research would be that a pre-training of the students would lead to placements. Agreed, Samir sir?
Agreed.
Okay.
Agreed.
Now, if you want to include intervening variables into, go ahead and include that. Who is stopping you of that? Okay.
Okay, got it.
If you want to include more of intervening variables, go ahead and include that. There is nothing which can, we can see for the ease of example. Try and understand, Samir sir. For the ease of example, uh, that we would be linking on to that thing that this A is linked with B. Okay. If we want to include more factors into that, then we would be saying that A, A1, A2, A3, and 10 factors, how do they link with B? You can go ahead and do that. With the paucity of time that we are there, I have just tried to draw a simple example of it.
Okay,
Okay.
agreed.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So that is what, as I said you, pre and post test. Okay. So, okay, let me ask you a question, a basic question. How many of you knew before this class what is research design? Okay. And how many of you now know that, okay, there is something which is called as research design, and this can be, different types of research design. Say, for example, if I ask this question, this is a simple, pre-post type of understanding. Okay. That okay, this many, say 5 people out of say I'm just hypothetically talking about 5 people out of 60 knew that there is something called as research design, or they were masters in research design. Now after I have finished up this topic of research design, another 15 knows more. Okay. So that is what a pre-post type of design you can always look into when you are talking about a certain idea into research like this. Okay. So as I was telling you, that you can always look out for a mixed design or a mixed combination or a combination of design onto that thing. Okay. That can you mix a quantitative along with the qualitative? Okay. Again, depending on the topic of your research. Okay. See, this all, so-called condition applies, will always apply when you are talking about any topic. Okay, you cannot understand any topic in silos, or you cannot understand any topic in vacuum. It has to link with other areas or other topics as well. Okay, so if your topic permits you, this is my personal recommendation to you, and with the time and other permissions, this is my personal recommendation to you, please use a mixed design, because then you would be able to answer many questions beyond, even if you cannot write certain things, but you can, when you would be doing a classroom discussion, or when you would be doing a discussion with people, you can tell them what happens exactly in the field. Okay, this is what data shows, that is a different idea, but this is why such data is, this is can be one explanation why such data occurs. So try and use a mixed combination, okay, or a mixed design combination wherever and whenever it is possible. That would give you a better understanding. Okay, how to choose a design? As I told you, primarily figure out that, okay, what is your topic? That is the first thing. Then try and look into that, what type of resources do you have in hand? Okay, then what is the type of data collection that would be good for as far as your topic and objectives are concerned? Okay, uh, Have you done a good literature research? What does the other literature research tells you about it? Look out for suggestions, okay, and then try and see that, okay, this is the design I would be following, and this is how I would be justifying this design. So even if my idea to you would be that, especially if you're doing your PhD, try in your RM chapter, try and make it as justified as possible, that why you have picked up this thing. Why not X? Why not Y? I'm not concerned about that. Okay. Say, for example, if I'm doing ANOVA or any statistical test, I'm not liable to explain you that, okay, why I have not used this or a ABC test. Okay. But at least I should know the logic that why I am using the test that I'm proposing for it. Okay. So please make sure that the more logical, the more understanding that you write your topic with, or you dwell, especially your um, RM part with, the more easy it would become. Even in the later part of your PhD, when you would be giving viva and everything, it would become easy for you. Okay, so write it. Don't leave it to the understanding of the reader. As a reviewer, I am telling you, we pose certain question to people. See, we go into blind reviews. So we pose question to the authors, knowing in order to make them, in order to understand that, okay, why you have picked up this thing, okay, why this is the design thing, why this is the sample thing. We are, if you are not looked into whys, or if you are missing on those whys, your reviewer would be mostly asking you whys. Okay, I reviewed a paper who again a comparison between uh, permanent and temporary workers, and they wanted to say that, okay, there are, say, the ratio of permanent to temporary worker is uh, 3:1. Okay, so, and out of a certain sector from which that sample was drawn, only 55 people were contractual or say permanent on that matter. Only 55 were permanent, and rest all, out of the sample size, I believe was 185 or something. So 130 were contractual and 155 were permanent. So is that the first question as a reviewer which comes to your mind? Is that it's not about the numbers per se, but the first question that you would be trying to ask to the people is that can you proclaim that 55, from data of 55 people, can I generalize it to the entire sector? Try and get my question. I'm not talking about the entire different industries, but can I generalize the findings which have come just out of 55 people? Can I generalize it to the entire sector? Okay, even in that area, forget about other areas of generalization. So hence, whenever you look into that thing, this is what would take to you to another topic, and the last topic for the day: sampling and sampling distributions. So please understand the first thing. Who is your sample? So first understand this thing before you jump onto sample, that with, what is your population like? So Himanta sir, are you still there in the group?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So Himanta sir, continuing with your example of energy conservation and things like that. So whom you would like to ask a question? See, if you are picking up a consumer perspective, whom would you like to question?
Household.
A household. Okay. So
Yes.
now answer this thing, that a household with say a solar panel on rooftop, or any household for that matter.
For
I hope you're getting my question. So the
yes, sir.
answer to this would be based upon your objectives. That what is your topic and what is your objective. That who can see, for example, let's simplify it. I want to know that which brand of mobile phones do people prefer. A very generalized question I'm asking. Okay. So whom can I ask this question? Can I ask to the 60 people who are listening to me now? What do you feel? Can I ask that which brand of mobile handset I'm talking about, not the service provider, which brand of mobile do you prefer and why? Can I ask to this 60 people in the group who are listening to me right now, who are attending this? What do you
Yes,
say?
you can.
Okay, so this becomes my population. Okay, so somebody has raised the hand. Please, Shweta ma'am. Shweta ma'am, you have raised your hand. Okay, so I can. So this becomes my population. So anyone and everyone who can answer a certain question of my research topic, or who can, based on my objectives of research, that is what becomes my population. Okay. If I'm asking it in a very niche type of a practice, okay, of a very limited type of a user, then I should go for census. Say if the population, say for example, population comprises of only 400 people or 500 people, okay. I'm a scientist, I'm researching about a rare of the rarest disease types. Only 500 people in India, say across India, have got such type of a rare disease. Then I should go and meet every one of them. So my population is my sample. If I'm choosing a very limited or a very niche type of an area. Otherwise, what you can do, you can pick up a representation of sample. Please understand this thing. You can pick up a representative population to understand, to answer your questions, or whichever method. I'm not talking about the data collection method. Whichever method of data collection you have adopted, you can go and ask to that thing, and that becomes your sample. Understand once important thing, that the sample you are picking up must have the characteristics of the population in terms of demographics as well. Okay, in terms of general demographics as well. Say for example, uh, if I am talking to 100 people, okay, and out of that 100 people, 60 are men and 40 are women. Do you agree with this sample? I'm not talking about the number now. I'm saying that if my sample size is 100, out of 100, and that study is based on some gender. Say I've picked up a topic on gender. Okay, say gender preference of shopping. So 60 answering are men and 40 answering are women. Is it acceptable?
Sir, as per the criteria, there should be at least 384, right? Sample size.
I'm asking you a very simple question, Samir sir. No
Yeah,
ifs
that
and
is
buts
fine.
onto that.
Whatever,
If I
whatever
say
you're saying is
that
fine.
100 is my sample, approved sample, okay? If 100 is my sample, so is it okay out of 60 and 40 ratio? Is it okay?
It should be the same, no, sir.
Same in what? How would you arrive at 50-50? What is the gender ratio, sir? Celeste, sir? What is the in general gender ratio in India? On every 1,000 men, approximately there are 850 to 900 female, yes?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So I
Yeah.
hope you are trying to get my indication that your sample should be a true representative of your population. Okay. See, you could have objected me if I say that out of my sample size, 70 are male and 30 are, 70 are female and 30 are only males. Then you can take an objection on that, that how it would represent a general, a general population. If I have given you a logic to that thing, say for example, in textile, in IT work, you would generally, in textile, say for example, you would generally find that that is a woman dominated work. Okay. Still, you would find a population ratio of 60-40, but that may not be a case in auto and auto ancillaries. So if I've given you a logic about population, and if I am writing now about sample, that would, that would hold true. Okay. So please understand this idea that if I am generalizing a population, then, and if I pick up a sample out of it, whichever way of sampling, okay, whichever way of sampling, then it should be a true representative of population in terms of the population characteristics. Is this first thing understood, please? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So, okay. So now we come on to that thing that we can pick up the samples using random or a non-random sampling. Okay. Shall I proceed?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This is a random sampling. This is the easiest way to understand random sampling. Okay, anyone from the group can answer this. This question is open for all 60 people who are listening to me. This question is open to you. So this becomes the simplest example of a random sampling. If I say, Samir sir, can I pick up? Can I go ahead? Okay, now it becomes a non-random type of a sample. Okay, I hope this first concept is understood to you between a random and a non-random thing.
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is again a random thing. Okay, so you can pick up any idea of this thing. A simple random sample, you have got a list of people. Okay, and based on that list, say I want to research into a certain community or a certain company. So I've got a list of employee. I want to research in some banks. So I've got list of customers. So any such list would help me in doing a random sample. Okay. So I can divide the group into a strata. I have already talked about a strata. Okay, that people coming from people who are like say divided on a certain time, they belong to a certain group. Say if I want to compare the result of science versus say commerce. Okay, so if I want to compare between science versus commerce, or if I say again we talk about placement things, okay. So I want to say that okay, placement of marketing people versus placement of finance, say package which people have earned. So this is in any type of this thing I can pick up in a stratified type of thing. I can pick up a proportionate percentage, okay, that say five among from all of them, or I can be a disproportionate. Let's say that the maximum people are from marketing. Okay, so out of a batch of 60-40 would be from, say, marketing. So I would have obviously more sample from marketing and then other samples from that thing. So you can pick up a heterogeneous or a homogeneous type of a sample based on that thing. So you can make out a comparison between that heterogeneity and the homogeneity of the sample, because they would be homogeneous within the strata, that all of them say come from marketing background, all of them come from a finance background, but then marketing versus finance. So if I've got any stratified type of a thing, I can do a stratified sampling. Or what I can do is that, say for example, let's take this example. I want to say randomly pick up some purchase orders. So I want to pick up purchase orders, say 50. I want to look into that thing. Okay. As an auditor, I need only 50 samples. So I need to pick up this 50 samples randomly. So out of 10,000, so I would pick up every 200 samples, say for example. Okay. Provided you have not, arranged this list in a particular order. Okay. So whenever you are trying to start with a random sample, please, create a mix match in the list, so that you don't you fall into something like, say, every 200th respondent is say for example is a male. Okay, so you would have least of females answering that question, so that it should, there should not be a pattern in a list. So like even alphabetical. Okay, for example, so create a mix match and then you can ask about anyone from anything. Okay, so that is what would help you. If you are trying to do an area based sample, okay, say for example I want to study the customers of bank, okay, of a particular, say, state or a particular city, then, and if there is a striking characteristics between the population of, say, east versus west of the city, okay, or north versus south of the city, and if I'm studying the bank as a as an entire thing, then I should make a use of that I pick up people from different strata, or sorry, different areas. Okay, I pick up people from different areas, because as I told you, my characteristic says that people coming from different areas would have different characteristics. Okay, say different income level of people live in different areas. That may be true to many states or many cities even. So I have gone to the HNIs also. I have gone to the lower side also of Jandhan account also, and trying to look into a larger satisfaction from the bank. Okay, so that is how you can, in simplest term. Again, please understand this thing, that the disclaimer still applies, and the disclaimer is that have you, pick up your thing based on what the research, what is your research question, your research objectives. Non-random, I ask someone who I feel would answer the question to me, convenient sampling. Okay. Or say if I want to purchase a land in certain area, to whom should I go and ask? I want to purchase an agriculture land. Okay. So whom all should I go and ask that whether this land is good or not? Who can be my samples? Who would give me the idea that whether this land is good
Farmers.
for agriculture? Sorry, farmers. The
Farmers.
farmers who are joining who are my neighbors. Okay, great. Who else? Maybe some
Agriculture
agriculture
officers.
People who already own the land.
who already own the land. Maybe some agriculture. If I know some agriculture specialist. Okay, so they all can be my.
Agronomist.
Yes, so all this can be my so-called samples. Okay, so if you are using it by say expert-based sampling, okay, so if you are using the point of reference to certain people, you can go for judgmental sampling. Or say you want to collect the sample unless a certain pre-decided quota of you are satisfied. Okay, that okay, I would interview 10 people from this area, then 12 people from another area. So who this 10 or 12 maybe, that is not materialized. Okay, so I want to say I want to ask 10 youngsters about this from this area, 12 youngsters from that area. That is what. Say there can be certain questions wherein the respondent may not be so that open to you. Say for example, you want to do a drug based research. Okay, that why youngsters get into drugs. Okay, say want to do you use that as a research thing of yours. So how would you find drug addicts? It would be difficult for you. Yes. Okay, so you would catch hold of one, then that person would give you a reference to someone else. So that's how with that reference you would be building up so that is the name why snowball is used. That you once it flows down, so you would gather the mass. So with using one or the other reference to the other point, you would be doing that way. Okay. So that is what you would be doing. I'm leaving that thing and I come on to that important idea. What is this? What should be the sample size? Okay. That means, if I want to put in, so in your research, please make sure that you are clarifying or you are, delimiting the scope of research. Okay. And do it, if you are writing a research paper, do it right in the introduction part, that what is the scope, the aim and the scope of the research. If you are doing it in your thesis, so either you put it right in the topic, okay, or you put it right in the RM chapter that okay, this is the research would be all about that. These are the aims and objectives, and this is my research specific area, okay, and the characteristics of this area, so that that a person understands that okay, this is what is the area entails, this is my population, and based on this population I would be taking up the sample size. So as I told you, sample should be a true representative of population in all the terms. So directly taking over, I'm skipping all that part. So how you can take it, that thing, as I said, if you have got a very small population, okay, very niche uh, thing, then obviously everyone would be your sample. Okay, or you can pick up it from a similar study that you can give a justification. Especially this justification would be more allowed in terms of what you say as a research paper. Okay, that similar study was considered, and from this study, that they took up 200 people, say. So similar study was taken as an area to study. Or as what Samir sir was saying, this can be, a published table can give you a idea that, okay, this is the sample size for you. So you can, if you have got a population size, so this can be area of your study. Okay. Or simply use formulas. Okay. Even online formulas are available. So if you are based on this equations, okay, or if you're based on this sample collection things, so you can use those things and you can put up that formulas that okay, based this is my population, So you would get both the formulas for when HD is known, but in all practical purposes, you may not be knowing the HD of your population, the standard deviation of your population. So you use the formula without standard deviation, and that would be, a fair amount of calculation. It is acceptable, okay, that you are using this thing, okay. So what is the level of precision that you need, okay, and what is, the variability and validity that you are talking about. So you use 2 or 3 parameters like this, and I'm pretty sure that you would be, arriving at a right part of it, or you would be arriving a at a better idea to this thing, that as to how you can use the population understanding. So that's all from my side. If you have got any questions further, or if you want to add something, please feel free to do so. The It's all open for you. Yes, please go ahead.
Sir, with context to the sample size, as you said,
Yes.
uh, I agree to what all you have said, but when is we have to take go ahead in taking the formula as the base? Because suppose the topic which you have selected requires a large population, and the statistical analysis gives you a basic formula wherein the sample size has to be basically by 384, or if it is adjusted 370. So whether you should go with that, or is it okay that you take lesser sample size also?
Samir sir, I would recommend this thing that there are two ways of looking at it. Okay, first way, that how are you trying to justify your sample size? Okay, say if I asked you that, on what basis, say for example, forget about 380 or 370. Say you picked up at say 400 people. Say for example, okay, in your synopsis you picked up 400 would be my sample size. How you arrived at this 400? Or whatever the number your sample size you have picked up, how you arrived at that thing? Do you have a logic to that? If yes, go ahead. That's your sample size. Okay. So in most of the cases in which I have seen, or have, when I talk in terms of RDCs, in most of the cases, if you are based on some calculations or some logics, then that would be more acceptable to the research committee, rather than giving some amount of number or some numbers to that thing, just to show that out of 1 lakh of population have picked up say 600 or 700 or 800, and in many cases people are not aware that what is the size of their population. Okay, they have no idea about their field of study, and they don't know, they have picked up any random area. Say for example, if I give, say for I can give you a very simple example, that uh, say for example, we take Hemanta sir wants to study that in Delhi, how many people would prefer say a solar rooftop. So do you have any idea about, I'm not asking about the population of the Delhi. Please understand this thing. That is available. But I'm trying to understand that, okay, based on my, say certain calculation, that people who have got a rooftop or this or that, something like that, this should be the larger population, or an approximate population. If you don't have any idea, and if you want to get an idea onto that thing, go for an RTA. Okay, so that you can determine the population first, and out of that population, how many of you would be studying. So do you have got a logic to that thing? If yes, go ahead with that.
Sir, go for what? What did you say?
I said you that do you have got a logic to how many, what would be your sample size? The best logic would be that you either, as I said you, that either you pick up some other study, give reference to some other study. But if there is already a study present, okay, what you are doing is that, you are just changing the area of the study and presenting it. With that, we already talked about it. So can you use some formula? Okay, can you put in some accepted equation onto that thing, or accepted formula, and to derive at the sample size? That would be a better idea.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Nisha ma'am has raised the hand. Please go ahead, Nisha ma'am.
Sir, in addition to your point, I would like to make few more points. Like
Yes,
when
please
we
go
are
ahead.
doing quantitative study, sir, we are going to collect the data using the some questionnaire. Okay, so where we are going to decide our sample size based on the items we are having on our questionnaire. There is a rule of thumb where we talk about, like, there are two rules. One is like based per one question, five respondents should be there. Another rule of or standard rule of thumb is that per item of your questionnaire, 10 response you should collect. So when we talk about the quantitative part, you can go with that particular rule. And when we talk about the qualitative part, like when you are doing just any kind of research, whether it's for your thesis, whether it's for your article, you are going to select some certain area that in this particular area you want to do your study, whether it's a sector or it's a geographical area. Okay. So once you are like using qualitative method of data collections and all, for example, FGDs or interviews or semi-structured interviews, so once you are going to get the same kind of responses from the your respondents, that saturation point will come. That point of time you will stop doing your interviews or your FGDs, and same thing you will explain in your research that you collected the data from so and so peoples and these many peoples, and after that particular point of time you stop because you started getting the same kind of response from your respondents. So this is another way of like selecting the sample size for your study.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Nisha ma'am.
That is what that is what this talks about, the central limit theorem, that after a certain point, okay, you can try this, any one of the, you can try all to this thing. Let me know about thank you, Nisha ma'am, for that explanation. In simple idea, okay, say for example, if I toss a coin, okay, inertia of large numbers, okay, if I toss a coin 10 times and you pick up one idea, either head or tail, what is the probability of head?
It is 50-50.
Okay, that means 0.5. Yes. So, but if you practically do it, would it be 0.5? The answer is no. Okay, you can try it. The answer is no. You won't get a 0.5 exact. So what you would do, you would increase the number of, what you would do, you would increase the number of observations. Okay. So in order to, and once you increase the number of observation, you would be, going to more towards the center. That means the established mean. Okay. That is the point of time when even after adding more observations to it, it won't affect your study. Okay. So that is what Nisha ma'am was saying, and you can practice it by a simple terms of a coin, that if you toss a coin, unbiased coin, and if you increase the number of repetitions, after a certain point the observations would no longer impact your final data. Okay, so that would be a good thing to understand what Nisha ma'am was saying. Thank you, Nisha ma'am. Anyone else? Okay, so thank you very much for all your time and patient listening, and thank you for your contribution, Nisha ma'am, Samir sir, and everyone who has contributed to today's topic. So it's so kind and good of you. That's what I said. We all learn from uh, each other. So thank you very much, everyone. Uh, yes. So this brings us to the end of today's session. Nisha ma'am wants to add something more. Please go ahead.
Sir, your session was very insightful. But like if we are having scholars in this particular session, I would like to suggest one more thing.
Yes,
Sir
please.
gave you the basics or the kind of the foundation for your research. But further, until unless you are not going to study more articles or you are not going to do research by yourself, again it will be the just mere concept for you. So go more into the reading of the articles and take the sir's insight as a foundation. Don't take each and every example as a literal meaning, like that this is the situation can happen or not. All the same kind of mostly hypothetical situations. So please understand those kind of concepts, and in future, whenever you're attending any kind of sessions and all, please listen it properly and cross confirm it. with the practical things, or your like, so you can cross question with the session speaker, as well as you can do the article readings and all. So please do more those kind of things. But overall, so your session was very insightful, and I really think that the scholars will get the basic foundation for their further research. It was very nice, sir.
Thank you, Nisha ma'am. Uh, the basic idea of such sessions, Nisha ma'am, is that you gain, you were right on that thing, that you at least get a spark onto that thing, that okay, this is a line of thought which I can which I can include when I am talking about research, or when I am thinking about it. Okay, so correlate it with different ideas. Okay, so develop an inquisitive ideas, question it. Okay, if you're, even if you feel like this is what it exactly, it may not be like, okay, or I'm not clear about it. Nobody is perfect. Okay, nobody's in a perfect idea. You can always, you can always think about in a different direction, you can always contribute in a different direction. So the sole purpose of attending such or conducting such you know workshops, or such discussions, is the idea that we tend to start with something. Okay, if you have not yet started, we tend to start with something. That is the most important thing. Once you progress ahead in that thing, then you would definitely gain insights into many ideas or many things which are being told to you. Okay, because here we use generalized ideas with many ifs and buts. Okay, because if we get into in depth of an example, or in depth of that thing, probably we will be consumed with this 1.5 hour time. So I already exceeded my limit of the time. So thank you very much once again. uh, Thank you, Nisha ma'am. Thank you, Samir sir. Thank you, everyone who has contributed in their own way. So, hopefully, we meet again with my next topic, which is there with you. That is on plagiarism and other issues like this, research ethics and plagiarism. That is what we will be talking about. So, once again, thank you to my entire RFI family. Thank you to Yograj ji, Asmi ma'am, Ajay sir, and entire RFI family, and all my respected colleagues from different parts of the country who have joined us today and spared their valuable time to be here with us. Thank you, everyone, for your great participation.
So, shall I conclude then?
Yes, Asmi ma'am, all yours.
Okay, sir. So, on the behalf of entire RFI team, a heartfelt thank you to sir. So, it was a really insightful and interactive session. I would
It's
also,
all thanks goes to my nice participants. It's interactive because of them.
yes, I would also like to express my gratitude to all the participants for their active participation. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone,
Thank
for
you, ma'am.
joining us.
Thank you. Have a great evening ahead.